How's it going, everyone? Coming off of the announcement of the PlayStation Plus revamp and the new tiers that are being introduced, I think one thing left people more disappointed than anything other, and it's the fact that PlayStation 3 games are not being able to be played directly off of the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 4. I think most of us assumed that it wouldn't be playable on the PlayStation 4, but at the very least, we were hopeful that an emulator would be developed for the PlayStation 5. While that's not happening right away, Jeff Grubb noted that potentially Sony Interactive Entertainment could be working on bringing PlayStation 3 games to PlayStation 5 without the need to stream them. I'll talk about that and why I am so against streaming, and also as far as more PlayStation news, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan was available on the PlayStation podcast, the PlayStation blogcast I should say, and noted a little bit about acquisitions and whether or not Sony was going to continue that process. Hint, hint, they are. More on that in a little bit, but first of all, when it came to PlayStation Spartacus and the subscription service, more than anything, I think myself and many others would agree that we wanted PlayStation 3 games to be playable directly off of our PlayStation 5. That would have been a make-or-break kind of feature for this service, and had PlayStation 3 games been playable, I think it would have been big enough for a lot of people that otherwise aren't going to subscribe to actually subscribe. Yes, PS3 games are going to be streamable. Pretty much everybody that I've spoken to, all the comments I've seen on social media and in my comment section has been like, yo, that's a total meme, nobody wants to stream games. Maybe there's a couple people out there, nobody is a stretch, but the majority of people, based on what I'm seeing, do not want to stream games. We want to play our games directly on our PlayStation 5, we want to play those PS3 games, and we want those games to be downloadable, yada yada yada. According to VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, however, the service could eventually add PlayStation 3 emulation. Obviously, this is something being talked about a lot. He noted, quote, "Since talking about this all week, I've looked, I've asked. It sounds like Sony might be working on emulation for PlayStation 3 on PS5. It may take some time." He continued, and this is his own input, but I really agree with him on this, so I'm just going to add this as well. "I wish they would come out and tell us that you care about this stuff, because that is what's missing from the PS Plus announcement. To me, it seemed like they didn't care about any of it. They just slapped it together, put a new name on it, and sold it." Agree 100%. It just felt like, yo, what's the quickest thing we could do? We'll add PSP emulation, and we'll add PSP games, and alright, roll it out. Just roll it out $18 a month or whatever, and it just seemed like, it's not the major feature that everybody wants. Remember when Microsoft added Xbox 360 backwards compatibility? It was just a relatively shocking reveal that not a lot of people saw coming, and everybody got super amped. People were hopeful in this case that it's been years and years since Microsoft made that announcement that Sony would add this with these rumors of this subscription service, and what are we left with? Streamable PS3 games. Nobody wants that. And again, nobody is a stretch, but the majority of people don't want that, but everybody wants to access these PlayStation 3 games. Hell, Microsoft, in a lot of these games, are going above and beyond, adding frame rate boosts, adding resolution boosts, and I think people, as far as PS3 games go, because we're just so starved to access our PS3 library again, we just want the games to be playable. You don't even have to, I would love a resolution boost and a frame rate boost, don't get me wrong, but bro, I'll play my Infamous 1 at 23 frames per second if that's what it's gonna take. Just let me play my Infamous 1, let me play my Infamous 2, let me play my Ratchet & Clank Future directly on my PlayStation 5. And trust me, as far as streaming games go, I tried to play Infamous like probably a couple months ago through PlayStation Now. What a train wreck of an experience that was. To be fair, I was playing it on my PC. The PC PlayStation Now app isn't the greatest thing in the world either, but my PC's wired, my PlayStation 5 isn't, so that's why I did that. But yeah, it was absolute train wreck, horrendous, just horrendous experience as far as that went. But yeah, bro, if you're asking for $18 a month, that's a significant ask. And yeah, you're gonna be like, it's $100 a year or whatever it is, $120 a year. It's actually cheaper than Game Pass, but a lot of people that I talk to don't go Game Pass month to month. They go Game Pass when they want to play something and then they cancel it. Who wants to pay a yearly subscription fee? I get it's cheaper, but with these subscription fees, a lot of the times it's, yo, right now I want to play a game, let me go sign up, let me go play the hell out of that game. Why am I going to let my subscription continue? A lot of people do that, so it's kind of different with online play. Online play is just kind of a necessity that you need. You want to play your games online, so people keep that just rolling. For a lot of people that I talk to these days, they also just let their PlayStation Plus expire as well. But nonetheless, I don't think that's a fair comparison point. But yeah, I hope we do get PlayStation 3 emulation. I hope they do add frame boost, performance boost, if that's possible. But at the very least, let us just be able to play our PS3 games, bro. There's so many great PS3 games that we just want to play these games. It's been like 8 years of us asking for this feature. And nothing. We are getting nothing. I feel like this is just one area that they're absolutely crapping the bed on, and hopefully they can get it together and make this a feature, just because, you know, there's so many games, and I want to be able to just pop in my PS3 disc. I don't want to be rebuying these games either. Like, I have my PS3 library there. I just don't want to drag out my PS3 console and have it hooked up all the time. And I just want to have the ease of access, and obviously with the subscription service, roll out a lot of those games on the subscription service, you know, offer them downloadable, offer them to be buyable as standalone games if you want to do that as well. There's a lot of opportunity for revenue to be made. I'm sure that it's an undertaking for them to create the PS3 emulation. I don't know what goes into that. Obviously, resources have to be allocated to create it, but you're also going to get revenue in return. Again, when it comes to Spartacus, I think so many more people would sign up for it if it did have PS3 emulation, but I don't know, maybe it's just a feature that I really want, and I'm overhyping it a little bit, but yeah, backwards compatibility should just be a no-brainer at this stage of the game. And as far as PS2 and PS1 games, hey, those are going to be downloadable. Let's hope there's a, you know, healthy library of games with Spartacus, but again, I would like the ability to pop in my disc and play those games. I would just think that should be something that's an available option. Alright, moving on from that, enough negative stuff. Well, this can also be perceived as negative depending on which side you stand on. Jim Ryan spoke to PlayStation Blogcast talking about acquisitions and noting, quote, "We're growing through acquisition. We've acquired 5 studios through the course of 2021. We're in discussions with Bungie, and we have more planned." Obviously, PlayStation just recently bought Haven Studios, which is working on multiplayer titles, live service games, etc., etc. And, yeah, I mean, like, that is a point blank what was said on the PlayStation Blogcast. I would imagine we're gonna hear some announcements very soon. I mean, acquisitions, this is just something that's gonna be a regular thing in the gaming world, and I would imagine that, you know, we hear these rumblings about these other companies wanting to get into, you know, gaming, and as far as offering subscription services with games included, and there's a lot of companies with significant equity attached to them. It's just going to be interesting to see how everything pans out and who Sony is looking to buy, who's willing to sell. I'm sure Microsoft isn't done with their acquisitions. Look, if they're throwing around billions and billions of dollars, there's a lot of money being rolled out right now. Obviously, these companies have to be willing to sell, but if you're pulling up with that kind of, you know, those kind of offers, it's pretty huge, and a lot of companies, the top-level executives, I'm sure, are going to get gigantic payouts when it comes to this as well. But, you know, I would rather everybody have access to every game. You guys know how I feel, but this is kind of the reality as far as creating that platform with a lot of titles, or creating like a subscription service. You know, obviously Microsoft and PlayStation, Sony, for now have different methodologies as far as how they want to, you know, distribute their games, but things are quickly evolving. But nonetheless, it's obvious to see that both companies have acquisitions at the forefront as far as their gaming divisions go. But that's gonna do it for me. Again, Sony could be working on a PlayStation 3 emulator. It could be a ways away, but man, this is a feature that I want so badly, and I know a lot of you guys want it. Even the people that in my comment section when I talk about Spartacus and this subscription service, everybody was like, yo, it's the people that were more on the positive side, they were like, yo, it's a fine feature, but the major disappointment is no PlayStation 3, you know, directly playable. So if they can iron that out, I think a ton more people would subscribe, and whatever resources you're going to allocate to developing it, you're going to make it back on the back end, at least in my opinion. And yeah, more acquisitions are coming. I think most of us already know that at this stage of the game. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.